Hey guys, to help run the forums, host the website, and travel, we've introduced a universal service fee for in-depth coverage, including this video. My goal is to be unbiased and transparent. It's a privilege to serve you. This is not an endorsement. Let's get into it. Hey guys, guess where we are? That's right, Austin, Texas. This is where it all started for me and for Electric Bike Review. Perfect place for an e-bike because it's hot, right? And you don't want to arrive at work all sweaty. Plus the traffic is terrible in Austin and everyone works downtown, but you live like up in the hills over here. So I'm really excited to see a new company. This is Mod Bikes and I'm here with Dor, one of the founders. How's it going, man?
Pretty good, how are you?
I'm stoked. It's really cool to see that, like, not just a couple bikes, you have a whole line, and apparently this is one of the more popular ones. This is the Berlin. It comes in 2 wheel size configuration. There's really only 1 frame size, and I've measured all the dimensions back at the site, but the standover height is about 1 inch taller if you go for the 700C wheels. So these are roughly 28-inch diameter. The other one has 26-inch wheels.
Yeah.
So again, an inch longer because they're wider, an inch taller, so the minimum saddle height and standover height. Again, I have all those specs back at the site, as well as the tire pressure ratings and some of the other details that they can start to get a little bit difficult to read over time, in part because these ones have that reflective sidewall stripe like kind of painted over the dimensions. But we got all that for you. I want to help. I love that being a mid-drive, this one has quick release front and rear wheels. They do have puncture protective lining on the 700C wheel, and only this wheel size has the reflective sidewall. So the bigger tire is nicer in a couple of different ways, but even if you get the other 26, it's a little bit more approachable, and you're still going to be able to do wheel maintenance pretty easily on your own. But these guys, they have a shop. It's on South First, right?
Yes, our headquarters is based here on South First, and we have a full workshop there where we can do all the maintenance, and then we check all the bikes before we ship them to make sure that the customers are getting their bikes almost fully assembled, and everything is adjusted, so you don't have to do a lot of work yourself.
So it's like a hybrid strategy where they have a shop, but they'll give you tune-ups and stuff if you buy from them, and they also ship nationally, free shipping in continental US. So this bike is $25.90. That's the price point. We've got a 350 watt mid-drive motor from Shengyi. I hadn't seen this motor before, but I'm pretty impressed. It offers up to 90 Newton meters of torque. The pedal max RPM support appears to be around 100. So there are some other bikes out there that are like EMTB bike, like the Bosch Performance Line CX, and it gets 120 RPM, which means you can pedal faster and the motor will keep up. For a commuting bike, especially one that ends up being kind of a speed pedelec with it's kind of a limited drivetrain. It's a 7-speed on this, but with a nicer Shimano Altus derailleur. So there's a really interesting mix of parts here. When I first saw this, I was like, oh man, is it the 14 to 28 tooth one? Because if this is supposed to be kind of a speed pedelec, you need a smaller sprocket in the rear, and you know, Dor was like, no, this one's actually 11, and this is nickel plated DNP, so it's a little bit nicer. So 11 to 28, and then up front 42 teeth steel chainring with this nice aluminum alloy guard. It's going to keep your pant leg or your skirt or whatever from touching the chain. It's decent setup, and then Altus is 1 step up, so this isn't turny. It's going to last a little bit longer, looks a little bit nicer, maybe lighter weight. 54 pounds on this bike. 5.5 pounds on the battery, 9.8 pounds on the motor. So it is a heavier motor, but I was experimenting with this on the way over, trying to figure out, like, how does it actually ride? So that's where I got the RPM stat that I just referenced, 100 RPM. So, you know, you do have to switch gears if you want to get into those higher top speeds. Like if you're approaching a hill and you downshift and you're thinking you're gonna spin faster and the motor will keep up, it doesn't. The motor kind of drops down a little bit to that 100 RPM range. But when it kicks in, you really feel it because it does have a lot of torque. As I was going through, I was like shifting these gears and I could feel it like, durr, durr, and I was gaining speed, and it felt really satisfying to do that. But I was also reminding myself to be careful when I shifted gears because like most mid-drive motors, this one doesn't have like shift detection. So if you're shifting hard and pedaling and 90 Newton meters of torque, that chain, those sprockets could get beat up a little bit over time. And again, that's why it's nice that these ones were nickel coated, and it just seems like a step up in terms of some of the drivetrain components. And again, that weight, even though it's on the heavier side, it's low, it's center, and the motor appears to be measuring your rear wheel speed, got the magnet and everything there, as well as pedal cadence and pedal torque. And Dor was telling me, yeah, but it's torque sensing, and that's great because it's really smooth and it's more fluid than a basic cadence sensor. But cadence sensing is also kind of nice because then the bike knows whether you're up pedaling at all. So I pedaled just very gently. Like I got up to speed and then I just moved. Not a lot of torque, and the motor did kind of, it was in there. So I think it's probably like, I call this an advanced sensor, where it's measuring multiple signals and it's giving you a very like natural feel when I ride this bike, and it's quiet.
Yes.
It's a really quiet mid-drive. Some of the like really high RPM mid-drives you hear like, and that's not the case here. This one was super quiet. So we talked about the benefits of a mid-drive. We talked about the weight and everything. Aluminum alloy frame, but it does come complete with like a commuter setup basically, which is these steel fenders, and they match this brushed aluminum alloy frame. But I was told that you guys also have like a matte black as well.
Yes, we have a new version that comes all black matte with the fenders and all, and
Sweet.
it gives it a very nice and black and slick look.
Well, you can see that a lot of the parts for any bicycle, but yeah, also electric bikes, are black. Then you know, it's like the display is black, all the wires. We got this nice Mod Bikes cable housing right here. The brakes, I love that it has hydraulic disc brakes. This is like a custom headlight, has 30 little LEDs surrounding a really bright one in the center. I've never seen that before, and it's neat because it's going to point where you steer, stays out of the way. It's not going to get beat up as easily or stolen. Like at a bike rack, if you have the like rubber band ones that clip onto your bike, those can get stolen, whereas these ones, they kind of have to break it if they're going to try to take it from your bike. So I like these, especially for commuting. 2 LEDs on that rear light. Looks like it just powered off. A lot of these bikes have like kind of a time delay, and then they'll turn off so they don't wear the battery down. And that's another good point, because a lot of times with aftermarket light, you have to kind of like manually turn it on and off every time. It's easy to forget, and then you run down those disposable batteries and it's a waste. I love that it's got this adjustable length kickstand, 40mm tab back here, stays clear of that left crank arm, 170mm on those crank arms. I love these Wellgo pedals, really wide. They've got the fixed pins. It gives you a good, you know, just good traction and a good sense of power and comfort and stability. There's our kayaking friends again out there. This is just such a wonderful place to ride a bike, and commuting it's such a pleasure. Like every morning I remember riding to work around here, and I really miss that. So anyway, I was talking about the colors, and the battery is also black, so that would blend in a little bit more if you went with the black frame. It is locking. You don't have to leave the keys in when you're riding. You can take them off, and I'm going ahead and unlocking it here real quick, and then will you help me tip that out so that I don't tip the bike? There it is, perfect. So 5.5 pounds on this, which is on the lighter side. It's got a fuse, it's got the charging port so you can charge it on or off the bike, and there's even another USB port on this. So there's one on the battery and under the display. That's so cool. This is 48 volts, 8.7 amp hours with Samsung batteries, but it's 417 watt hours. So you're trading weight for something that's a little bit more efficient. Probably helps keep the bike a bit more affordable, but you're not getting like 1,000 watt hour battery pack. This is more efficient is how I would describe this, but it's a lot lighter too when you take it off the bike and carry it inside. They give you a 2 amp charger. Yeah, maybe I can pass, I think, there we go. We locked in, and then take the keys out. Cool. I'm always like thinking maybe I need help, but I got it all by myself. That was great. Anyway, so the battery pack being, for me, a highlight in terms of weight distribution. It's efficient, but this is a more active bike, just the way it's set up with the mid-drive and everything. You have to pedal. There's no throttle option, and a lot of the other mod bikes do have a throttle option. Is that right?
Yes, they are. Yeah, this bike is more active bike for people that want to keep that same feeling of like riding a bicycle, but just have that a little bit of more extra power to not sweat on your way to work and back. And
some comfort. So I'm going to go into some of those in a minute, but you know, we were talking about your company and that you're based here. You have an 18-month comprehensive warranty as well.
Yeah, we stand behind our products, and like it's a big thing for us, kind of like to stand behind it and give that good service for all the customers that are here in Austin or nationwide. We want to give that warranty. We want to help you. We want to give that phone support to whoever needs it.
Yeah.
And as we talked about earlier, for all of our Austin customers, we do give complimentary tune-ups with no additional charge.
Wonderful. Well, let's go check it out. We were at the shop earlier, so let's go back and see that. Hey guys, we are on South First in Austin. I love this place. This is where I started Electric Bike Review. Mod bikes didn't exist back when things were starting, and so it's so cool to see a local electric bike company / shop. This is Door. Are you one of the founding members?
I am.
It's fantastic. You're very knowledgeable. This guy's been helping me out with all the stats and stuff, and I was like, what's going on out here? It's a party. I saw some guy like sitting on the bike taking pictures.
Yeah, so this is one of our like coolest murals in Austin. We have our cool Mod Easy with the teddy bear in the sidecar.
It's like an Instagram hotspot right here.
This is where everyone is coming to take the selfies, and we have.
This is a Yep child seat, right, which is owned by Thule now, and they make just some awesome accessories. You could do this with probably a lot of different bikes, but not every bike has a rear rack. And this one, that's the new one that kind of clamps on from the sides, right?
Yeah, so like an option like this basically gives you what like a big cargo bike can give you, and you can get the same thing in a small foldable bike that you can fit in your car and have it all like with the matching colors, with a cool foldy lock that is just mounted to the frame.
Oh, I love that.
And this is a very cool option that a lot of people are choosing to use here in Austin.
But if you live in Austin, you might not have a lot of extra space. So a folding bike could be a good option, because I mean, things are blowing up around here. There's all these new kind of apartments and skyrise. Look at this. This one even has like a rear seat. Is this an option that you guys sell, or what is that?
Yeah, we do have a lot of like all the accessories that you need to add to your bike, different options to take your kids with you. So this is a saddle with
pegs.
that are foldable, and yeah, this is a very, very cool option that a lot of people like to use. As well as this, we also offer the different app solutions for storage. So we're really kind of like focused on the commuters that need to have all of those extra solutions to carry some groceries on their way back from work. And yeah, we're offering all those.
Well, and you've got a customer in there. I think he has that model, so I thought we'd go in and say hey to these guys. So this is Mike over here. He's been helping me out with all my questions and getting the thing all scheduled. Thank you so much. And then Josh, Joshua, nice to meet you, man.
Thank you.
We were out there looking at some of the different bikes, and you're a real life customer here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a pretty typical Austin consumer. So I have an office downtown. I live not too far from downtown off a bike trail. So it just made perfect sense for me to get the electric bike. So every day I get to ride it to work. It's easy, it's clean. It's actually faster for me to ride a bike to work than it is to drive.
Oh, so I hear you. Austin traffic too is like the worst.
It's crazy. I think you used to live here, right?
I did, yeah. Right. And this is how I got into e-bikes. I was like, I feel like it's like the same situation almost. So it's totally cool.
So I've been super happy with it. I came to Mod Bikes. Really, I looked at all your videos, did a lot of research.
High five for that, buddy.
Yeah, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I did a lot of research, and I liked that it was a local Austin company. They really stand behind their product, and I love the bike. I think it looks great.
And you got that one, right? Like, can you tell me why, or which one?
I got that one right in the back.
Up on the that stand? What's that one called? It's like a mountain bike, kind of.
Yeah, so it's a mountain bike and a city bike, so I get to use it. I get to use it on the trail, because my trail, it's quite a rough trail in some parts, and then it's a lot of city driving as well. So I like that I could do both.
Yeah.
And I like that it went up to like 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I like the big battery capacity, and I like the shocks when I'm going over the trails.
What's that one called, you guys?
This is the Mod Black.
Mod Black. I'm gonna go check this out, because this would be my choice too. I can't believe it. It's like a full suspension setup. They've got the mid-drive. You got the good balance here with the battery and stuff. So yeah, it sounds like that's the one that Joshua got. Even got lights, so it's a really cool combination. You know, a lot of times electric bikes, especially full suspension, you don't have rear rack bosses and stuff. So we're looking at a few of these. I love this one with like the sidecar. I wanted to take you guys behind the scenes real quick. This is the shop that they were talking about, and Joshua's getting like a little tune-up. I think if someone buys a bike, they get free tune-up or something.
Yeah, if you are here from Austin, we're offering complimentary tune-ups. So that's kind of like a part of the deal for our customers here in Austin, and for the future branches we'll have around the country.
And speaking of that, you guys are, it's like you're growing. This is Timothy. He's from the UK. Look at this, working two computers at once, man. This is your hacker dude, right? It was nice to work with him earlier. He was sending me some graphics. And then, is it Jordan?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, are you one of the techs here, like a mechanic?
I'm actually building a bike right now for a guy who came in and bought one yesterday. And so he's going to come in and pick it up today.
It's another one of those, like the Mod Black. This is a popular model, it looks like.
Yeah, here in Austin, there's a lot of trails, and kind of this bike, with the way we built it, you have a rack and integrated lights. So kind of like you can enjoy both worlds of like a commuter bike and also an off-road bike that you can use it to commute to work every day, but also if you want to go for like a small adventure in the weekend.
Yeah.
So you have it all in once.
Is that the same motor as the Berlin has?
Yes, this is the same motor, and it's a pretty powerful motor. And
it's like 90 Newton meters.
Yeah, the way that
torque sensing, very smooth. The reason I'm highlighting some of this is because it doesn't sound like I'm gonna get to review this bike during this trip, but I was I was kind of impressed and wanted to show that up close and just give you guys an idea. I don't know if you do other tune-ups.
Yeah, we're trying to help everyone in the electric bike community with also like fixing the bikes and also with explaining a lot. People are very confused with buying a bike, and if you'll come to us or just give us a call, we'll be more than happy to kind of like help you.
Wow.
And as we talked earlier, there's not good or bad. It's just like what's the right bike to fit your needs and to fit your lifestyle. And we're trying to help everyone that we can. We really believe in this transportation solution that is just going and getting bigger and bigger here in the U.S.
Absolutely.
So, we see it as a mission to help everyone that we can in this industry.
Is there anything else you want to say while we're at the shop and just looking around? And otherwise, we get back out there and check the bike out.
So I just kind of like wanted to briefly say something about our company. We're focused on people, and we're focused on very straightforward bike that it's very easy to use, and everything is very simple. It has everything in there. It's fully loaded with lights, fenders, racks, USB ports, and
oh, I love that. Yeah, the display, how it has like the plug-in, and it's like 2 amps, so you can charge your phone and actually charge it, not just maintain it.
Like being very commuter focused, we're trying to get all those small features that will make your everyday commute to be a lot easier and kind of like stress-free, that you have everything you need in there. You have your lock integrated, you have the very nice suspension on all the bikes. So
yeah, even the folding bike, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we just want to make it simple for everyone. That's our goal.
Okay, well, cool. Let's get back out there.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thanks. Cool. Okay, guys, welcome back to the trail. I was talking about comfort before. I really like this saddle. It's just very comfortable. It's a gel saddle. You can see right now it's warm out, so it's especially soft. And then they give you this roughly 40 millimeter travel EXA form 525 suspension seat post, 30.4 millimeter diameter if you want to upgrade, because it's kind of limited. You know, there are nicer suspension posts out there, but they cost a lot more. So having one at all is nice. This one does have preload adjust. If you pull it out, there's like a hex bolt in the bottom. You can tighten or loosen it, kind of preload that spring for your body weight. And then we have this built-in, it's kind of like a monoshock up front. And it's not adjustable, but it gives you another, 40 millimeters of travel or something. And aluminum alloy fork, that's going to take the edge off the alloy, because a lot of times, steel is a little bit more vibration dampening, but aluminum's lighter. And so it's kind of a way that you get the best of both worlds. Again, it's not offering a ton of travel, but it does take off some of the hits when you're on the, bumpy sidewalks or pothole type roads. Nice grips. These are locking leather, and I was told that they're Selle Royale, so I didn't see the branding on these, but it is kind of an imitation leather, and they do feel comfortable, and they're not going to spin on you. And then the brakes. So I mentioned these a minute ago. Hydraulic disc brakes are great. They don't require as much hand effort, and they do offer some adjustability in terms of reach, so you can bring those in if you have smaller hands. 160 millimeter rotors, which is kind of standard for a bike like this. I mean, being almost a speed pedelec, like 28 miles per hour is what you get on some speed pedelecs. This one's like 25, so it's kind of efficient, but it lets you get a little bit above 20, which feels nice. You get a nice breeze on you if it's a hot day like today. So 160 millimeters, I feel like that's adequate, and it's definitely a huge step up from mechanical, where the wire stretches over time and it gets gunked up and stuff. Like, hydraulic is a great step up, and the right one even has a motor inhibitor. Not the left, just the right, but I almost feel like it's unnecessary on a torque sensing mid-drive motor. So, take that however you want. I think they're recycling parts from a lot of their bikes and kind of buying in bulk and stuff. So I frankly, this is almost unnecessary, but it's nice to have. And then the trigger shifters over here. Do you remember what this is? Sunrace. It is Sunrace, the M4. It has the two-way shifter right here for the high gear, and then multi-step low. So you can actually go 3 shifts at once. I love that. It reminds me a lot of like the Shimano Dior trigger shifters, which are my favorite. So it's got like a little low-rise handlebar. We got the seat, we got the suspension and everything, and there's some spacers here. You can dial this in, because considering it only comes in really only one frame size, just the different wheels, it's nice that there's some adjustability going on. And then I think we might get into the display in just a second here, but I'll give you another close-up of the rack. Rated for 55 pounds. It has that latch. It's kind of bowed out here to make room for those disc brake calipers in the rear, and these are dual piston, by the way. So that's neat. Like, this is definitely, it almost seems like a purpose-built rack, just the way that it matches and with that little outdent thing going on there. I haven't seen that a lot, so that's really cool. Okay, This is not a removable display. It's roughly 3 inches, it's grayscale, and it does have adjustable angle, which is nice for a sunny day. You can kind of pivot it up. And then there's that little USB port on the bottom, which is so nice because, you know, frankly, I'm trying trouble getting at it right now, but a lot of times, you know, bikes, yeah, maybe you can open that up for us. There's this other USB port, but imagine running a wire all the way up to your handlebars, and then you could potentially kick them because your pedals go pretty close, not directly past it, which is nice for charging. You're not gonna snag that charging cable as easily. But the point being, I mean, it's nice to have, but that's almost like you could just use that as a battery backup for having a picnic or something. If you actually want to use an accessory like a phone or something while you're riding, being able to plug in up here with a short USB is super, super convenient. So I love that they did this. I actually really like this display. To turn on the bike, you press the I button for a couple seconds. It boots up. It says Mod Bikes, and then there's this optional password protection. This is super cool because so many times maybe you don't want to bring your battery in. I actually used to park in an underground parking garage over there. It was 20 bucks a day to park my car. That's part of why I got an e-bike. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. It's free to park my bike, and I got to work in about the same amount of time because of traffic. And it was in a shady spot, and I just didn't want to bring my battery up and charge it, so I left it down at the rack. But then that means people could tamper with your bike. My bike didn't have a password at the time, so to see that as an option on their system is really cool. So I happen to know the password on this one. Been playing with it all afternoon. There we go, and we're in. So I just used the plus and minus keys and the I to enter. We've got a 5-bar battery infographic. I like to see 10 or a percentage indicator. It's more precise, but 5 is kind of industry standard. If we hold the plus button, we activate those lights. You can see a little light icon, and there's a really cool feature. Can you activate it real quick, Dor?
Yes.
If you hold the light button and you turn it on and off like 3 times, it goes from solid to flashing. The rear stays solid, but the front turns flashing, which is such a cool feature. I mean, this headlight is awesome, in my opinion. I mean, it just looks cool. It's got an alloy casing, has flashing mode. Props to you guys. Like, that's gonna keep you even more visible. We've got assist levels here. You can take it down to 0, all the way up to 5 is the default right now, but they can also set it up for 0 to 9 if you want finer increments, so it's not just big jumps between them. And remember I talked about before where like that motor can come on pretty strong. If you want to just like have that finer steps, it's not every bike allows this, so it's pretty neat that they do that. And then over here is watts, so like how hard the motor's working. Again, 350 to 550 or 600 watt motor, 90 newton meters of peak torque, speed in miles per hour or kilometers per hour. We'll show you how to change that in a second. Trip distance down here, if we press the I button, it switched to odometer, max speed, average speed, ride time, back to trip distance. And then I think there's a walk mode here if we press this little button down here for just a couple seconds. And that's nice if you get a flat tire, or maybe you've loaded up a basket or something and you're working your way home from the farmer's market. What's this field over here called, or that center? Dor?
That's Auditorium Shores.
Yeah, Amphitheater Shores or something. We used to do like bike to work events and all kinds of fun stuff, and this place would get just super packed. And then there's ACL, and there's so many
right here in Zilker Park. And,
yeah, and it'd be like I'd ride my bike to the event, and then you had to get off. But then pushing around a 54-pound bike, you know, walk mode. That's what it's for. It's nice that you guys have it. Everything's very reachable. Display is super easy to read, easier than a lot of displays. It is backlit. You just can't see it because it's super bright out right now. And on to the settings. So if I hold plus and minus together, we get all these settings. It's very clear. I like the way this display is set up. So you can clear the trip, set the wheel diameter, adjust the speed limit. So you can even lower it if you want to get further range, or set this up for someone who just doesn't feel comfortable at 20 miles per hour or 25. You can make this a class 1 or kind of a class 1, class 3, because again, class 3 is up to 28. So maybe you're someone who weighs a little bit more and you only get 23 miles per hour, or you're someone like me, I'm only 135, so I can hit that 25 and do just fine. But the speed limit, that's something not every bike gives you access to. Set the voltage, and I think that's just to match the battery. So it's a 48 volt pack. Set the power, backlight, and password. If we go into the power, so is this like you can make it like punchier basically?
So this will just like give you a bigger range of adjustments to however you want to control your bike. Some people usually prefer to have only that 3 levels, so you can get easier to the highest level instead of like pushing the button all the way to 9.
This is the sys level, so 0 to 3, 0 to 5, 0 to 9. Okay, great. So I like the 0 to 5. Okay, and then it lets me out. I think that's it. So a plus and minus to get
hold
out?
the I button, that will save it and get you back out to the main difference.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Dude, is there anything that I haven't talked about that you want to add, or should we hop on and go for a ride?
You should hop on and go for a ride.
Sweet, dude, I appreciate it. And he is on the Mod Black, and that's a really good bike for this type of terrain because we're a little bit off-road right here with kind of the gravel. I've been doing just fine. These tires, they're kind of hybrid tires. They're not super narrow, but they're gonna slide out a little bit easier than his over there. I like riding in Sys Level 5 so you can really get a sense for that motor. And in my experience, it's actually pretty quiet. I'm just gonna start riding that way. Sound good?
Let's go.
There we go. There's this suspension test, I guess. There we go. Do some gear shifting. But remember, I tend to shift either with a lower assist level or just where I'm not pedaling really hard because it will crunch a little bit. I can see that power chart surging. A little bit of a delay happening there with my pedal assist where I'd stop pedaling and the motor would still keep going. You know, it's not as high a performance motor as like some of the e-mountain bikes and stuff, but you're still getting a lot of the advantages of a mid-drive. Nice comfortable upright body position if you get that dialed in. Just super fun around here. Doing just fine on that gravel. Oh. Would you trade me bikes? Maybe we cross up and then switch out?
Oh yeah, sure.
Sweet. This one actually has the same drive system, so you get to see what that looks like. And off we go. Going off-road. So a lot more travel on this suspension than on the other one. But also more weight, more noise because we got the rear bag and stuff added. Looking good, dude. A little bit more tire drag on this one, more noise, but definitely cushier for that off-road. Okay, we were talking about the motor. This is it right here. I haven't actually seen this in too many places. Weighs about 9.8 pounds, so it's a little bit heavier, but it gives you a pretty good Newton meter rating of torque. It's like 90 Newton meters, wow. Just pretty neat. A lot of new mid-drive choices, and that's a really great way to have efficiency and balance, especially on that full suspension one, the Mod Black. This is the charger, weighs 1.5 pounds. It's a 2-amp charger, very standard. It's kind of basic, but it does have this metal tip on some of the bikes. Depends on which one you get, but that's going to be a little bit more durable. So you can see this little folding flap right here. If we go back to the Mod City, I think that one has more of just a direct plug, but it's kind of the same charger in terms of, yeah, there it is. So like right down here, so you got another USB and then that little circular port. So they're trying to standardize things like the motors and stuff, and I'm pretty familiar with this battery design. It's another way to keep that weight low and center. That's a unique one, though.
Yeah.
Who's this guy? I recognized him.
Yeah.
You're famous.
I am.
So we were getting to talk. We were doing bikes and checking everything out, and then we were talking about rebates and stuff. Can you tell me about what Austin's doing?
Yeah, so we're here in Austin, and I really hope to see it in like more cities. But Austin Energy gives to Austin residents from $200 to $400 a rebate for buying an electric bike.
Wow.
And I think that it's amazing, and I think that the city kind of like really gets that we need to invest more in traffic. It will help the planet, it will help everyone. So we're very happy to work with the city of Austin with that.
Do you guys do that? You know how to help people get started here?
So we do all the application for our customers, and it's kind of like the customer doesn't have to do anything. We take care of everything, and we're working with the city of Austin very closely. So I think that it's amazing, and city of Austin is amazing.
Props
in
to
that
Austin.
sense.
Props,
Yeah.
and and that takes $200 off every bike. I mean, that's sweet, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, guys, we're back on the Berlin, and from here you can see the 42-tooth chainring up there. I like that it has that alloy. It doubles as like a bash guard, especially for the full suspension model. They've got the black, but in this case, it's also going to protect your pant leg. Steel chainring, so it should hold up pretty well over time. And then 11 to 28 tooth in the rear of the Shimano Altus. Remember, without shift sensing and then having a high-powered mid-drive like this, even though it does have torque sensing feedback, still just a good idea to ease off on that torque, or maybe wait until you're coasting a little bit and not putting a lot of power and pressure through that drivetrain to spare your chain and that sprocket. So, and it is nickel plated, it's going to hold up a little bit better. So anyway, I think that's it. I'm going to pedal around in a pedal assist level 5 just to give you the maximum noise that this motor would produce. And I'm also going to try to hit the maximum RPM at each level. And you'll see I definitely have to shift to get to higher speeds. I want to point out that they don't have a slap guard. I asked about this. It's pretty easy to take a clear piece of boxing tape and just put it over and make your own. There are nicks here. You can see the black, you can see it's going through that clear coat, but this is aluminum frame, so it's not going to rust, and the color of the bike frame matches, it's brushed aluminum, so it's like you're not going to notice it too much. If you get the black frame though, that's when you might see silver spots where the chain would be banging into that. So keep that in mind. Depending on where you ride, the chain's going to bounce around more or less. Here we go. There we go. There's our 25 miles per hour. You'll notice my pedal cadence was just kind of slow and lumbering, again, because the higher pedal rates aren't available on some of the mid drives, 100 RPM. Also down here you can see bottle cage bosses. I love to see that. There's plenty of space for it with this battery configuration. There's even room right here for like a frame bag. There's a lot of utility potential on this bike. The rack has like bungee cord clip openings right here too. It's a good setup for commuters. Sweet. Thank you so much, Dora. Had fun. It's always cool cruising around Austin. I hope that answers any questions you guys have. Of course, chime in the comments. Back at the side, I got all the measurements and a compare tool so you can see these bikes back to back. I'm going to do like a few bikes for Mod Bikes on this trip, and then maybe in the future we'll see some more. I love you guys. Ride safe. See you next time.